Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Cup of Tech. It's been 2 weeks, it's been such a long time. I was away, I was in Hawaii for a bit of a holiday, a bit of refreshing, it was quite good, a lot of relaxing and stuff like that, but I managed to keep up with the tech news. I'm going to squeeze a little bit of that into this show as well as what happened in this week now. First of all, obviously last week iPad mini got announced and sales are available and you can go buy one and so on. Now one thing I learned was not so much about the iPad mini, we know what it's like, we know what it is, it's like a mini iPad 2, but for people who are looking to buy tablets and so on, there tends to be quite a bit of issues with storage. So if you're watching a lot of movies and storing a lot of pictures, you tend to fill it up pretty quickly, and a 16 gig tablet compared to a 64 gig tablet can cost like $200 extra or more. Now Buffalo has released a product called the Mini Station and it's wireless. So it's like this little hard drive, I don't have one obviously with me, but I'm going to get one to review. And you can just put in your bag and it's a Wi-Fi hard drive. So it's 500 gigs, store as much as you want on there, and then from your tablet you can connect to it and you can watch the movies, look at the pictures, save files, vice versa as well. So it's really quite a good accessory to have. So you could buy the 16 gig iPad or whatever, and then buy this accessory on top of that, and what you've then created is a 516 gig tablet, which guess what, it's going to take a lot to fill, and you'll have storage for a long time. Plenty of movies, plenty of pictures, music, whatever you need. Something to consider, I think. That's available actually in December, so check that one out. It's good to be back, I'm telling you, it's good to be back. Somewhat speaking of tablets, the Nexus 7 is obviously probably the best alternative to the iPad mini, but Google has also released some other Nexus devices, the Nexus 4 and the Nexus 10. Now, going off with the Nexus 7 and what it meant, you can kind of gather what the 4 and the 10 mean. So the 10 is a 10-inch tablet. However, you look at the specs and it's beefed up, like mega specs, really high resolution screen, very impressive details. What isn't impressive in my eyes is the looks. It looks pretty ugly. I have a Motorola Zoom and I don't think that's an attractive tablet, yet it looks just like it in some ways. So not really impressed by that, but the price is pretty good and I think that they'll sell a decent amount to Android fans. I don't think it's going to pull iPad users just for the fact it doesn't look good enough. Now the Nexus 4, however, is a different kettle of fish. That is obviously a 4-inch phone, but it looks pretty good, it looks clean and sleek. The specs are pretty decent as well, but the most impressive feature on that, not feature, most impressive part of it is the price. I think it's like $350 or something like that. Now for me that's really appealing if I was looking to buy a phone outright, really cheap, especially for what it is. However, what I've learned is that not a lot of carriers like Telstra, Optus, Vodafone, etc. are going to actually carry the phone on contract, which I think is a huge mistake. I think if you had that and say half the price of the iPhone month to month, they're going to sell a lot more of those to the youth market and they're going to grow up with Android and they're going to be committed to Android for a lot longer. So I think Google really needs to be pushing the telcos to take on the phone for contracted plans, because that would really help drive sales for it, I think. Having someone who's 17 years old, for example, spend over $300 in one hit for a phone, it's a tough ask for someone who probably doesn't have a full-time job or whatever it is. So, decent looking phone. One of the features that they have announced, I think it's Photosphere. Now Photosphere, I'm kind of going a little bit about it, but anyway, Photosphere is it enables you to do what Street View pretty much does. So you know when you use Street View on Google, and you can kind of use your mouse to navigate, look up, down, left, right, and understand what's around you. Well, the phone allows you to capture that sort of image. So rather than just taking a standard rectangle picture or, portrait, landscape, whatever you want to call it, it allows you to do this. So you'll take your shot and you'll look up, look down, look left, look right, look here, and it's going to capture all your views. So if you just sit where you're standing, instead of watching me for a second, look up, look left, and around the room, imagine being able to do that in a picture. So then you can actually even push it back to Google Maps based on your location, and you could then share it. So you could do this huge photosphere and show people exactly what it's like where you're sitting right now. And I think that's pretty mind-blowing. So for example, when I was on holidays, I could have done a great photosphere, put it up onto Google Maps and went, hey guys, this is what my view looks like. And it's not restricted to a small picture that I've taken. You've got the whole look, the whole view of what I've got. And I think that's pretty sweet. I'm looking at it for businesses. I think businesses will benefit the most from it. For example, here is my restaurant. I'm gonna capture the whole thing, make it look really good, pump it into Google Maps, attach it to my location, and guess what? If someone's looking me up on Google Maps, they'll know what the restaurant looks like inside, and that's a plus. Also, some other interesting news. I went almost a day after I landed back in Sydney. I went to the city and there was the Microsoft announcement launch of Windows Phone 8. Not so much an announcement, we kind of knew about everything. But I also got a hands-on time with four of the latest Windows Phone 8 devices. Had a look at the Nokia Lumia 920, 820, had a look at the HTC 8X, I'm sure that, and 8S, and the Samsung ATIV S. Now, I had a good hands-on with them. Spec-wise, if you look at the run sheet and stuff like that, they're very, very similar. Similar sizes, similar cameras, really similar stuff. Now, what's the difference? What's good, what's bad? Well, guess what? It comes down to the feel. When you pick them up and how it actually feels in the hand. Now, after going through them all, the HTC 8X was the one I was most willing to hold on to for longer. A lot nicer. I wanted to love the Lumia 920. I wanted that one to be the best one, but it just actually wasn't as exciting as I thought it would be. I just think the case is very glossy. It feels like I'm going to drop it, and it feels heavy. Whereas the 8X has this beautiful finish on the outside, and it actually feels good. And it's thin, it's light. It kind of reminds me of not my Galaxy, but like the HTC One X, but with Windows Phone. Now, just looking at Windows Phone and giving a quick brief about that, very similar to what you were used to if you've used Windows Phone before. A few extra features. One feature which I love and I want to see other OS's peoples pick up, my language isn't good, I want to see this. So in Windows Phone 8, you can do what's called Kids Corner. So when you unlock a Windows Phone normally, you swipe up and it unlocks the phone. What you can create is a separate environment for your kids. So let's face it, a lot of kids are asking their parents, well, oh Mom, I want to play with your phone, blah, blah, blah. So what you can do is you can set up a little environment for them with apps that they can access, music that they can access, photos and video that they can only see when they use Kids Corner. Now, Kids Corner isn't just an app. When you unlock the phone, instead of swiping up, you swipe left. And all of a sudden you're in this different environment, which the kids will think is just the phone itself. So they won't feel like they're being held back and restricted, and they'll actually just be playing in the area that you want them to play in. They won't be emailing colleagues, they won't be calling random people, they'll just be doing what they want, what they should be doing, and you don't need to worry so much. So Kids Corner, I want to see something like that in Apple, I want to see something like that with Android. That is a cool feature because it's happening a lot. Like almost every time I go out for dinner, you look at one of the tables in the restaurant and there's a family or there's a husband and wife and there's a kid just playing with their parents' phone or iPad or something. So something to consider there for sure. Guys, as I was saying, I was away for a couple of weeks. I know I missed a lot, and I know I'm kind of being really brief in this show, but I didn't want to make it a 30-minute episode because let's face it, no one would watch it for that long. Watching me for 30 minutes would make me ill. So I'm going to end it here. I really am. I've obviously missed some things. People are going to be sitting there going, oh, hey, hang on. He didn't talk about the new iMacs, or he didn't talk about this, but what am I going to say? What am I going to say that you don't already know? Let's be honest. So I'm going to try and just address the simple stuff that I can every week. Keep it simple, keep it short, keep you guys watching. If you think it's something really important, put it in the comments and we'll talk about it. I'm not disappearing. I love to see your comments. I love to reply back to them. And you know, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you want me, I'm going to try and be there. I haven't finished my coffee though, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a sip and then wrap it up. And that's the end of the show. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.